Book review: Nightshade by Michael Connelly. Michael Connelly, master of the modern crime novel, launches fresh and compelling series with Nightshade, taut atmospheric thriller that introduces new protagonist, Detective Jack Stilwell. Set against the deceptively tranquil backdrop of California's Catalina Island, Nightshade delves into murder, corruption, and the moral complexities of justice. In this gripping novel, Connelly returns with all the hallmarks of his best work: precise procedural detail, deep character introspection, and narrative that refuses to let go. New hero in the Connelly universe. Jack Stilwell isn't Harry Bosch. He isn't Renee Ballard. He's something else. Man exiled from Los Angeles, homicide due to internal politics and personal vendettas, relocated to the island precinct of Catalina. The scenic, supposedly sleepy outpost becomes the crucible in which his integrity, instincts, and tenacity are tested to the limit. Still nursing the wounds of professional betrayal and personal loss, is loner but not broken, just reshaped by his scars. Connelly takes significant risk and introduces a new lead in landscape already rich with beloved characters. However, Stilwell proves worthy of the challenge. His quiet resilience, moral code, and simmering frustration with the bureaucracy that exiled him offer readers new kind of hero, flawed, hardened, but deeply principled. He's not interested in playing politics. He's here for the truth no matter it costs. Plot summary: in Nightshade, best-selling author Michael Connelly introduces readers to compelling new protagonist, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Detective Jack Stilwell, in taut, atmospheric thriller set against the deceptive calm of Catalina Island. Having been effectively banished from his homicide role on the mainland due to departmental politics and grudge that won't let go, Stilwell finds himself in what should be peaceful backwater policing place better for tourists, sailboats, and sleepy harbors than violent crime. But it doesn't take long before the island's placid surface is broken by something sinister. The story kicks off when diver discovers body at the bottom of the harbor, tethered and weighed down to keep it hidden. The victim is a young woman, initially unidentifiable save for a bold streak of purple in her hair, with no ID, few immediate clues, and limited forensic resources on the island. Still knows the case will likely be transferred or deprioritized. But something about the Jane Doe sticks with him. Her hair, the methodical way she was hidden, and the stillness of the island in the wake of her death make him resolve to dig deeper, even if it means stepping outside official boundaries. Parallel to this, Stilwell is dispatched to respond to a report of poaching on a federally protected part of the island's nature reserve. What should be routine call for illegal fishing or hunting quickly spirals into something more violent and complicated: an aggressive landowner with political influence, someone long assumed to be above reproach, becomes central to the investigation. Stilwell soon finds himself tangled in a web of environmental, local corruption, and legacy secrets. What begins as straightforward enforcement case exposes festering undercurrent of power, money, and violence hiding behind the island's tourist-friendly facade. As Stilwell pursues these cases, he faces not only resistance from local authorities and island residents wary of mainland cops, but also interference from former colleagues. Chief among them is an old nemesis from the lab who appears to be working behind scenes to discredit Stilwell and undermine his investigation. Their history is riddled with unresolved tension, and as the heat rises, so does the risk of Stilwell being pulled back into the political quagmire he was sent here to escape. What links the poaching case and the murder of Nightshade, as the dead woman comes to be known, gradually emerges through Stilwell's dogged police work. Despite jurisdictional hurdles and the lack of backup, he connects the victim. Shadowy network tied to the island's elite, where human exploitation is masked by philanthropic enterprises and environmental stewardship. Connelly uses Stilwell's relentless pursuit of the truth to peel back the layers of Catalina's idyllic image, exposing darker world of exploitation, cover-ups, and brutal consequences for those who dare to speak out. The stakes continue to rise as Stilwell chases down leads that take him into the island's remote interior, through the dingy corners of its harbor town, and into the fortified homes of its wealthiest and most untouchable residents. He uncovers connections between the victim and former conservation intern turned whistleblower, as well as a string of disappearances dating back years. Nightshade may have been the most recent victim, but she wasn't the first, and Stilwell can act fast, she won't be the last. The tension boils over in powerful climax where Stilwell must rely not only on his detective instincts but also on his moral compass, knowing full well that the system might fail him. And the victim, again, in an explosive confrontation with the island's most powerful figure, the truth is finally brought to light, though not without cost. Stilwell, battered but unbowed, delivers small measure of justice in place, has forgotten what the word means. Connelly crafts Nightshade with his trademark precision, balancing procedural detail with raw emotional insight. The character of Jack Stilwell is standout. Man exiled for his integrity, wounded by betrayal, and fueled by an unwavering commitment to truth. Unlike Connelly's other iconic detectives like Harry Bosch or Renee Ballard, Stilwell operates with less support, greater personal risk, and under cloud of past, which gives the novel a darker, more introspective tone. Catalina Island becomes a character in its own right. Isolated, beautiful, and teeming with hidden rot, Connelly evokes its natural beauty and tourist charm even as he lays bare its shadows. The forgotten crimes, the overlooked victims, and the powerful people determined to keep their secrets buried in the deep. Nightshade is a potent blend of noir and contemporary crime fiction, as much meditation on moral exile as it is murder mystery, with its atmosphere, sharp dialogue, and tightly woven plot. The novel showcases Connelly at his finest. While the story resolves its central mysteries, it leaves open the door for more Stilwell novels to follow. Welcome development for fans of character-driven thrillers. In Stilwell, Connelly introduces character who feels both familiar and refreshingly new. His loneliness, his guilt, his fierce belief in justice even when the system fails, all make him worthy addition to Connelly's ever-expanding universe. Nightshade is not just compelling mystery, it's psychological journey through exile and redemption set in paradise with poisonous core. Readers will close the book haunted by Nightshade's fate, and eager to follow Stilwell's next case wherever it may take him. Themes: exile, justice, and the power of the forgotten. One of the central themes of Nightshade is exile, both literal and metaphorical. Stilwell has been banished from the city in his past, but he's also been emotionally sidelined, grappling with professional identity crisis and lingering sense of guilt. Catalina Island, portrayed here as both paradise and prison, becomes crucible for his redemption. Another key theme is justice. Not the kind meted out courtrooms, but the kind that depends on individual conscience and persistence. Stilwell refuses to let Nightshade become just another forgotten victim. His empathy, not just his detective skills, drives the narrative forward. As in Bosch's credo, everybody counts or nobody counts, Stilwell embodies the moral responsibility of bearing witness, of making sure the lost are found and the voiceless heard. There's also quiet but powerful critique. Systemic failure. Law enforcement corruption, the privilege of the wealthy, the invisibility of vulnerable women. Connelly doesn't shout these themes. He lets them emerge organically through the actions, decisions, and dilemmas Stilwell faces. The poaching subplot, with its environmental stakes, reflects broader concern for how power distorts not only justice but nature itself. Catalina Island. Character in itself. Few crime novels make setting feel as alive as character, but Connelly excels at this, and Nightshade is no exception. Catalina Island is rendered in vivid detail. Its tourist shops, dusty hiking trails, hidden coves, and claustrophobic small-town politics. What seems idyllic becomes deeply unsettling, place where secrets fester and justice feels dangerously remote. The isolation of the island enhances. Spence Stilwell doesn't have the support systems he once did. No homicide squad, no tech team, no familiar allies. He's alone with his gut instincts and limited resources. That isolation becomes both challenge and crucible, forcing him to rely on his wits and integrity. In this way, the island intensifies not only the story's tension, but also its emotional stakes. Characterization. Stilwell in the shadows around him. Stilwell is the emotional and narrative heart of the novel. Connelly gives us a portrait of a man who's been pushed aside but refuses to go quietly. He's methodical, quietly intense, observant, and has just enough edge to make him unpredictable. There's distinct inner stillness to him, an unflashy strength that makes him both relatable and compelling. Other characters serve as mirrors and foils. The victim, known as Nightshade, is hauntingly absent yet central. Through the slow unveiling of her story, we learn about the island's darker side. Her backstory, once uncovered, is tragic and infuriating reminder of how easily some lives are discarded and some crimes ignored. The antagonist, wealthy, politically connected island figure, embodies the danger of unchecked power. But even more sinistrous, former colleague from LAP, now working behind the scenes to see him fail. The grudge between them, rooted in past case and personal betrayals, adds powerful layer of suspense. It's not just the crime Stilwell must solve. It's the institutional rot he's still fighting. Other supporting characters: an overburdened local coroner, worried journalist, reluctant ally in the sheriff's office, flesh out the island's microcosm. They each bring texture to the narrative, reflecting varying shades of complicity, cynicism, and courage. Pacing and structure, procedural with pulse. Nightshade unfolds with the precision of seasoned crime writer at the top of his game. Connelly's mastery of pacing is on full display. The novel moves briskly but never sacrifices depth. Every chapter adds new twist or deepens the emotional stakes. The procedural elements. interviews, evidence analysis, timeline reconstruction are not only accurate but gripping, adding authenticity and immersion. The dual investigations converge organically, allowing for satisfying narrative payoff. There are moments of intense suspense, including stealthy nighttime pursuit through forest trail and tense confrontation in the harbor. Connelly knows exactly when to tighten the screws and when to let the tension simmer, yet the structure also allows room, reflection, Stilwell's inner world, his regrets, his hopes, his hard-won insights, elevates the novel beyond standard whodunit. He isn't just solving crime, he's grappling with what it means to still believe in justice in a world that increasingly doesn't. Comparisons and positioning in Connelly's oeuvre. Longtime Connelly fans will find Nightshade both familiar and refreshingly new. It shares the ethical seriousness of the Bosch novels, the grit of the Ballard books, and the investigative sharpness of the horror series. But it also breaks new ground by stripping the protagonist of the usual support systems and placing him in removed setting. If Bosch was the archetype of the driven city detective and Ballard the embodiment, persistence in changing department, Stilwell represents quiet resistance. Men who won't shout but won't give up. This story is more introspective, more isolated, yet no less gripping. Readers new to Connelly will find Nightshade an excellent entry point, while longtime fans will appreciate how it expands the author's universe without feeling derivative. Strengths and minor critiques. Among the novel's greatest strengths are its protagonist, its setting, and its ethical core. Connelly's writing is clear, crisp, and evocative. The emotional resonance of Nightshade's story, combined with Stilwell's relentless pursuit of the truth, ensures that the reader is emotionally invested from beginning to end. If there's any minor critique, it might be that some of the procedural elements, such as access to certain databases, investigative tools, feel slightly too convenient given Stilwell's isolated posting. Additionally, while the climax is satisfying, some readers may feel the final confrontation resolves slightly too quickly compared to the novel's slow burn build-up. However, these are minor concerns in an otherwise tightly constructed narrative. Inclusion, haunting, thoughtful thriller. Nightshade is a deeply compelling crime novel, one that balances suspense with thoughtfulness, action with introspection, and still Michael Connelly introduces hero for our times. Man disillusioned by the system, but still doggedly faithful to its ideals. Through moody prose, elegant plotting, and searing empathy, Connelly crafts not only mystery worth solving, but story worth telling. This is not just tale of crime. Investigation. It is a story about the power of memory, the danger of silence, and the importance of bearing witness. Nightshade may begin as nameless victim, but by the end of the novel, she is symbol for justice, for loss, and for the enduring necessity of good people who refuse to look away. With Nightshade, Connelly once again affirms his place as the undisputed master of modern crime fiction, and Stilwell emerges as worthy successor to the legacy of Bosch. Ballard. This is the beginning of a new chapter, and it starts with whisper that turns into roar. Readers will be eager for what comes next.